Greetings, it's Vanessa-Mary, your favorite holistic well-being coach, coming back with another conversation today to add to the richness of conversations that have already taken place in my world over the last few weeks. If you don't know already, I am hosting my second Family Business Growth Summit. It's happening on Saturday, the 17th of May. So we are 23 days away now. And yes, I am excited. And yes, I am nervous. So that's like two emotions all at the same time. But it's all good because the energy is building, the momentum is building. There is so much buzz that's happening behind the scenes. Obviously, I can't document all of it. I can't share all of it. Some things are like perfectly laid out and we're all set. Some areas there's been a few changes, but then it's all good. So I'm ready for this. Are you? Have you got your ticket? Are you joining us? If you cannot get to us in Nottingham on Saturday, the 17th of May, did you know that I am doing virtual tickets this year? So there's actually no excuse, okay? Success leaves clues, and I have gathered some fantastic, amazing leaders who are contributing to this year's events, either being a keynote speaker, being a leader on the panel, exhibiting with us, or even just being in the room. You know, your energy just being in the room will be amazing. So if you know that you are working as a mum or dad in your business, maybe you work with your husband, your wife, your daughter, son, sisters, whatever that combination is for you, this event is for you because it's a family business growth summit. It's Seeds of Unlimited Success. And the guest that I've got today, she is such an amazing woman. Her backstory is incredible. I'm going to bring her on so she can tell us a little bit more about herself. So welcome, Linda Booth. Here she is, founder of Just For Tummies. Woohoo! Thank you, Linda. How are you? Are you okay?
Thank you, and hi to everyone else. Those of you who probably know me, and some of you who maybe don't. It's great to meet you. And thank you so much, Vanessa-Mary, for giving me the opportunity to speak to you today about your. Well, I hope it's
about you. This is about you. We want to find out all about. Well, not all about you.
I'd just like to say, I'm completely in awe of what you are organising with this conference, because having organised conferences myself in the past, when I was on I was on the committee for the UK's Colon Hydrotherapy Association. I was vice chair. One of my roles was to organise the annual conference. So I know, Vanessa-Mary, the work that goes into it. Excitement, yes. Nervousness. Will enough people turn up? Will the exhibitors turn up? Will the speakers be, what you expected? Will everyone have a good day? Because that's what you want. You want everyone to get something positive out of the day. So.
Yeah, well, thank you so much for that. I mean, one thing that I haven't really been sharing on this podcast is that my background is in event management and project management. So organizing an event is something that does come naturally to me. I've done it over many years. I've had many different topics to cover, gathered different people. So it's not really that, but I do agree with you. I mean, last year we didn't have any problems. All of our exhibitors showed up. All of the speakers showed up. We had a good crowd in the room as well. So those things don't really faze me. What I would say is my message landing with people? I think maybe that's where my anxiety is. So I'm being vulnerable on this call. I don't care. I've done my angel work today. And they've actually given me some messages that, so I feel that my kind of thing is like, am I reaching? I'm doing these calls. I'm speaking to fantastic men and women like yourself. I'm doing a lot of networking in Nottingham. I'm sharing my message. I've sent out a lot of invitations. Is my message landing? But then I do think, well, do you know, the ones who are supposed to be in the room, they'll be there, including including your good self. So thank you so much for, agreeing to exhibit with us and also be a member of our leadership panel, which is a new segment for this year. So let's turn it over to you, Linda. Do you want to tell, because there may be people here who don't know who you are and what you do. Do you want to give us a bit of your backstory, please?
Okay, so for just over 33 years now, I've been a natural health therapist, excuse me, and I had a clinic in Nottingham, in Mapley, that I ran alongside my husband, Kevin. So I was, and still am, the naturopath. So I've been trained in lots of different complementary therapy disciplines, and my husband, he's the chartered physiotherapist. So we worked very well alongside each other in the clinic. I started out, my journey in natural therapies. I did a remedial massage course. I used to work in a bank. That's my previous life, and I got kind of disenchanted with banking. And that's not got any better, actually. We could have a conversation about that, I'm sure. But I got disenchanted with banking, and I was being forced to sell, and it went against my core ethics. So anyway, I decided, because I was very interested in complementary therapies. My paternal granddad was a master herbalist. After being shot at Gallipoli, he was shot and wounded at Gallipoli in Turkey. He was in the Sherwood Foresters Regiment. They shipped him back to London to Chelsea Hospital. He was shot in the mouth to have a surgery, and then when he recovered, he was sent out to fight at the Battle of the Somme in the First World War. So he obviously survived all that, because otherwise I wouldn't be here. But he healed himself through natural therapies, including herbal medicine. So people often say to me, where do you get your passion from for natural medicine? I don't really know, Vanessa-Mary. It's just there. It's just there. It's just something within me, something here within me that keeps driving me on. So I left the bank. I trained in remedial massage. I trained in myofascial trigger point therapy, ultrasound, interferential, acupuncture. As a child, I suffered with constipation quite a lot. My mum used to give me syrup of figs and this awful tasting chocolate granules. I can't remember the name of them now, to help me go to the toilet. And that continued into my adult life. And one day I went to see an iridologist and medical herbalist in Oxford, because I was having a few issues. It turned out it was my thyroid gland. Vanessa-Mary, I don't know how much time we've got to speak here. Can you give me an idea?
We're going to be speaking for about 30 minutes.
Okay, right, just to give me an idea. So I went to see this medical herbalist about my thyroid problems, and she did iridology, where she looked into my eyes, and she says, well, never mind your thyroid problems, we need to sort out your constipation. You need to go and get some colon hydrotherapy treatments. And I'd never heard of colon hydrotherapy. I said, what on earth is that? And anyway, she explained it to me. She recommended me to a very good therapist in Mapley. I trusted this medical herbalist. I went for the treatment, and it was a light bulb moment. So it cured my constipation, and I decided to train in that therapy, in colon hydrotherapy. And when I was training, the first day there at the training school, and I say this often to people, I was in the right place at the right time, with people training me in a discipline that would change my life, but change the lives of thousands of people. And it was such a profound feeling. So I did the training in modern naturopathic colon hydrotherapy, and I qualified, and I began to, in my clinic, I was working full-time in the clinic. I split my week into half the week I'd be doing remedial massage, electrotherapy, ultrasound, acupuncture on people who had back pain, neck pain, musculoskeletal issues. And then the other half of the week I was carrying out colon hydrotherapy treatments. But it wasn't too long before the colon hydrotherapy just took over. And I began to reduce my days doing the manual therapies, so to speak. So I was flat out carrying out colon hydrotherapy treatments 6 days a week. my appointment book got booked up pretty quickly. So people were having to wait like 6 months to see me.
Wow.
But they were ringing me, they were emailing me, that people were still wanting help, you know, with their IBS, their constipation, their bloating, their diverticular disease, their acid reflux. And I would say, well, look, try these probiotics, try these natural digestive enzymes, do a 5-day charcoal cleanse, take some omega-3 fish oils, or I'd recommend them to another colon hydrotherapist, of course. And one day in clinic, my husband heard me speaking to this particular lady and recommending these different companies' supplements. And he said to me, he just dropped it out. He said, why don't you develop your own range of supplements? You have decades of experience. You've treated and carried out consultations on thousands and thousands of people. You know exactly what needs to go in the supplements to get the best result for people. And I said, Kevin, don't be ridiculous. I'm here 6 days a week working flat out. How on earth am I going to find the time to develop my own range? So we left it for a bit. And then one day, a young woman came to see me in clinic, and she was a personal trainer, and she was also a female natural bodybuilder. So she entered competitions. Mm-hmm. And her issue was bloating. So obviously, when she's entering competitions, it was massively affecting her confidence, the bloating. So anyway, she booked in for colon hydrotherapy treatment. And I always say to people, bring all the supplements and the medications that you're taking so I can take a look. And she was waiting in reception, and she'd got her gym bag with her. Anyway, she walked into my treatment room and she put her gym bag down, and I said, okay, can I have a look at what supplements she's taking at the moment? Thinking that in her gym bag was her gym kit and she was going to the gym afterwards. But no, her gym bag was full of supplements. Wow. So she brought them all out onto my desk, tubs and tubs of supplements. And out of all, there must have been about 20 different supplements that she was taking. And out of all of them, she maybe needed 2 or 3. So it was then that I decided, right, I've had enough of this. People, they don't know what they're buying. They're wasting the money. They're not getting better. I'm going to develop a targeted range of digestive supplements. So that's what I did.
Wow, brilliant. Well, you've kind of taken us a little bit further than I thought we were going to go at this stage, because you've taken us straight to Just for Tummies, which is great. But I just want to go back on what you said about your granddad, because I thought that was so interesting, because I've written down the word legacy. Because in terms of the event, the strapline for the event is growing your family legacy. So there's 2 things that you've said there. You've said about the history of your granddad and everything that he went through and how he healed himself. And then you've spoken about the idea that Kevin planted, which was quite subtle at that point, and you was resisting it and saying, I don't think we've got time for this. I haven't got time for this. So legacy, you know, we've got an exhibitor coming. He's traveling from London, actually. He's in the herbal range, not the same in terms of supplements, but it's all about cream and things like that. You'll get to meet him. His name's Andrew Moorcroft, and he's coming with his daughter, and his daughter was the inspiration for him starting his business with herbal medicine because of her condition. And I said to him, when I spoke to him, I said, Andrew, you've made me look at the word legacy in a very different light, because last year, well, to be fair, the download, because this concept has been gifted to me. It's not something that I sat there and I was like, oh, I'm going to do an event. No, it was just like sitting there almost like in a quiet meditation. And then the idea came through to me, and I was just quite happy to go through with the idea and to bring it to life, you know, to manifest. But when I was originally thinking about legacy, I was thinking about finances. I'm not going to lie. I was thinking, you know, most people, we're in business to build a solid foundation for our family. We can pass on wealth for our family. But when I met Andrew, he explained the way how he shared his story, and that he changed the system, basically. Doing what he did, he was being told no by the medical profession, and he went ahead and he helped his daughter's condition. So you'll get to meet him in May. And in that moment, I thought, gosh, she's made me think about the word legacy very different. And again, with your story and your granddad, I mean, you said you didn't understand why you were getting this urge to, you know, go through and to keep studying and to keep exploring. And I would say that, you know, for many of us, we're not aware of how much our ancestors and members of our family have influenced us. And that's why the event is geared for families. Last year, we did have young souls in the room. So, you know, literally, I don't know if Kate's bringing her daughter this year, but Kate, who was exhibiting, she's going to be, no, she didn't exhibit last year, sorry. She was attending with her daughter. She's exhibiting this year. We had others with the, you know, I had my granddaughters there, my daughter there. So, and I really want that. I really want people to bring their offspring, because for me, going back to influence, we don't know who's watching us. We don't know how we are making a difference in someone else's life. So I thought that was very, very interesting. But I do want to also go back. I know you said, oh, it might be a different conversation, but I'm really interested in your banking. And, you know, I think we've had, when we met each other in the park in Nottingham, we had that very brief chat. And I, even in that very brief chat, I knew where your mindset was. And I'll just preference it in the sense of our headline sponsor is Silvertree. And Silvertree are basically encouraging business owners to use another way of doing business, and not to totally rely on cash, basically. So we use cash in our business, but we also use the Silvertree currency. And I will be interviewing Ilari, who's the shareholder. She's going to be speaking at the event. So what you'll find is in that room, I want to get your perspective on this, so it's okay to share. Yeah, what you'll find is in that room there are people thinking about finance in a different way. So do you just want to kind of like go back and maybe just give us some examples of what did you mean when you said about the banking system, and how actually you wanted to come out of there, and how you're feeling now?
Right, well, so when I left school, I went to secretarial college full-time for a year to learn shorthand and typing. And at the end of that year, I got a job in a bank. And I started at the bottom as the junior. I was only 17 years of age, and I worked my way up. I worked for the bank for 13 years, and I absolutely loved working for this bank. So the bank was Yorkshire Bank, right? It was kind of a blue-collar bank. If you know what I mean, for the working person. And I loved it. So I worked my way up. I was on the tills, and this was in a time before computers and really before calculators. So all the reckoning up, you know, we had to do in our heads on counter, and we had to balance at the end of the day. And woe betide if we didn't balance, we couldn't go home until we balanced. So I worked my way up. I did lending, you know, loans, overdrafts, things like that. But then Yorkshire Bank was sold to an Australian bank, and this Australian bank said, don't worry guys, nothing's going to change. You're going to keep the same name, the same branding. We're not going to change anything at all. That was a big fat lie, because as soon as they bought Yorkshire Bank, they began to bring in different working practices. So performance related pay, even though we were performing very well, and our particular branch was one of the top branches in the country in terms of opening new accounts and customer satisfaction. That
was it the branch in the city centre by any chance? Because Yorkshire Bank was my first account.
I didn't work in the city centre. I was more I was at the Sutton Ashfield branch.
Oh, okay.
We had a fantastic manager, a guy from Sheffield, and he ran a very tight ship. And woe betide if that phone rang more than twice, Vanessa-Mary, or someone was waiting to be served, you know, on the counter. You better get your backside on that counter as soon as possible. But we respected him for that. We had a big poster in the staff room, and there was a big picture of a lion on it, and it said, the customer is king. And that's how we ran that branch. We respected the customer. We did our best for our customers. But when we were bought out, performance related pay came in. If someone came in to open a current account, for example, we'd got to try and sell them a loan, a credit card, some insurance, get them to sign up to a will. and I just couldn't do it. It went against my values as a person. I wasn't prepared to do it. I got very unhappy. And Kevin, my husband, has always been extremely supportive. And he said, well, leave then, Linda. If you're not happy, just leave, do something else. And at that time, because of all the stress, I was also having some complementary therapy treatments, massage in particular. And I thought, oh, this is making me feel great. You know, it's helping me get through. And I had some reflexology, aromatherapy as well. And I thought, right, I'm just going to leave. I'm just going to leave the bank and train in complementary therapies. And my parents and our friends were absolutely horrified because I got a staff mortgage, you know, preferential mortgage rates, cheap staff loans. It was a good salary. I knew what I was doing day in and day out, no pressure kind of thing, apart from the pressure to sell to people who I didn't feel could afford.
Well, that's really interesting, because I'm going to ask you to go back. We're going to talk about our value system in a minute based off what you were saying. But I did pull 3 cards. I did ask your permission before we came on the call here. So as I said to you, it's just something that I started doing. I started doing it. I was like, oh, why not? Why not carry on? So we've got Adriana who's come. And I'll read it out here. So she's saying, I'm leading you towards the answer to your prayers. Please listen and follow the steps. I'm communicating through intuition, thoughts, and dreams. So because I've pulled 3 cards, she's going to represent the past. Okay, so that's really nice. And I think it's really fitting in with your story and what you've shared, and, you know, how you've fallen into this. So let's go back to your values. I was working with a coach. She is going to be at the event, Caroline Andrew. She's doing a session for us on collaboration and how business owners can work together. If we collaborate properly, we're all going to win. So that's the essence of her business. Her session. But she asked me about my value system, and I can't remember what I put down, but after probing me, we realized that even though what I'd chosen, the word I'd chosen was important, it wasn't my highest value system. So, you know, you spoke about the bank and how that was making you feel. Have you put, you know, you spoke about your values. What would you describe maybe your top 1 or 2 values to be that have carried you through your journey?
Integrity, honesty. Yes, those would be my 2 main values.
Okay.
Integrity and honesty, being straight and upfront with people.
Brilliant. Well, I mean, for me, it turns out that my highest value is kindness, which I didn't I didn't realize until we probed a little bit deeper. So that's really
difficult to choose just 1 or 2, isn't it?
Yeah, because then that's really focused my mind, and I thought, oh my gosh, yeah, that does resonate with me, and that's who I am. So I'm going to go back to the word that you said, which was about comfort zone. And, you know, in business, I feel that we're always coming out of our comfort zone in some way or another.
Massively.
So exactly. So, you know, going back to the card that I've just pulled here, representing the past, we know what to do, but we have to listen to our intuition. We have to follow our dreams, which means that we do need to step out of our comfort zone. Have you got, because you're going to be sharing leadership lessons in the afternoon with us on the panel. So do you have any examples? You know, you've worked with your husband for a good amount of time. It's obviously been a positive influence on what you're doing, from the moment coming out of the bank to then developing the product range. Your son works with you as well, doesn't he? Yeah.
Yes,
So, you know, in your dynamic as a family business, are there any lessons that you could share with us today in terms of, you know, how have you stepped out of your comfort zone, maybe as a leader or just as a family working together to bring the business where you want it to be?
I don't really see myself as a leader. I've kind of been pushed reluctantly into being a leader, Vanessa-Mary. I'm very much, I call myself a wallflower. I like to be in the background. But when you're in business and when you're running your own business, you can't be in the background. You have to be a leader. You have to step forward. and you have to be brave and you have to be courageous. Yes, my husband is great. Without my husband and his support, I couldn't have done or do what I do. Our son is an integral part of the business on the more technical side. It's been difficult for him in the business, and I don't think he'd mind me saying that, because I think one of the mistakes that we've made as a family is we've not got the balance right. We've not had the balance right. We've not had the work family, the business family balance right, because Kevin and me, my husband and myself, we've worked together for many, many years, and we've worked very, very well together. And then when we set up Just For Tummies, Colin joined us, but he didn't come from a therapist. He wasn't a therapist. He's more of a data analyst. Okay, and not just that, but when we have meetings, I'm very focused when I've got my business head, and I'm very focused, and I'm not mum. I'm Linda. I'm Linda, founder of Just For Tummies. And I think Colin has found that difficult over the years. And he said to me recently, he said, I feel as though I've lost my mum and my dad. And that really, really upset me. It did. And I sat down and thought about it. And I thought, yes, when we get together, even as a family, all we seem to talk about is the business. It's not as bad now because we've got grandchildren, and we've got 2 grandchildren running around. But in certainly in the early days, yes, it was. So we just got the balance wrong, but we acknowledge that now.
Okay, well, that's really interesting, because my work as a coach, I always say, if we want to change something, the first step that we have to do is that self-reflection. So the fact that you're here, you're being open, and hopefully this will resonate with other family-owned businesses. So, this is the reason why I am bringing like-minded people together, so we can have these open and honest conversations. We do want the best for our family, but like you said, when it's about business, your focus, you are Linda. But then recognizing how your son has responded and said, I feel like my mum and dad, and we've got the guest speaker, the masterclass session from Lindsay, who is a relationships coach, and her title of the session is called Love and Business, It's All Connected. So she's going to talk to her group, about how, and I've been using different words. So people use the word balance, but the word that I've been using is blend, because I do feel that we have to just figure out how we're going to blend this together.
You're right. I think balance is the wrong word, Vanessa-Mary. Blend is a much better description of what we need to do.
Word, isn't it? It's not actually from me. It's from my coach. But that's what. But then this is what a coach does for you, But yeah, so I feel like the blend is a softer way, because then for me, it started to take away negative feelings, where I was like, oh my gosh, well, I'm trying to be mom, and I'm a grandmother as well, like, I'm trying to be mom, oh my gosh, but no, I need to do. And then my mom, who is at a time of her life, I'm an only child, Colin, he's an only child, so it's like you do have that then different way of looking at mum and dad when it's just you don't have siblings that you can talk to. So yes, I think that blend is a softer word. It can help us to kind of like think about, well, how are we structuring our day? How are we making time for, getting that quality connection right? And at this time, I'm going to talk to us about, you said work. It's all about work. I don't know if you've got anything in the pipeline that maybe is coming up for you. Yeah, you're nodding. You don't even have to say what it is if you don't want to reveal, because I did these cards for you. Okay. So the second message that came through was Isaiah. You can't see him, but it is such a beautiful card. And he said it's a good time to give birth to new ideas and situations in your life, and watching over you, guiding you and protecting you during these times. So for me, I'm personally not working on anything new right now, as you can imagine. I'm like, no, I'm good, thank you. I've got nothing to do. I've got my hands full. But you know, that message did come out for you. And I would say anybody else listening to this call, you know, just take the guidance that's coming through here. If that's resonated with you, or maybe the first message that came through, which is about, you know, we do have things that are on our mind, but are we following our intuition? That is a way that things can be communicated to us. Going back to what you said, work, it's all about work. We're just talking about work all the time. So, you know.
And for Kevin and myself, Vanessa-Mary, that has never been an issue, because it has been our passion. You know, it's never been an issue.
You bounce off each other then. You bounce off each other.
Yeah,
that kind of drive.
Absolutely.
And that's another thing. I mean, I do feel that maybe in some relationships where maybe one part of the relationship is more driven for work and the other maybe has a bit more of a laid back attitude, that in itself can cause problems. So
yes,
I don't
think driven.
Yeah, but I was just about to say, I don't think there's anything wrong with you know, husband and wife team coming together and saying, no, we're both driven, we're both focused. That is what's bringing the success, the magic, and obviously magic in the relationship. You've been together for how many years have you been together?
Well, next year, next June, we will have been together for 50 years.
Whoa, 50 years.
We met when we were 16 and 17, and I'll be 66 next February. So.
Oh, that is incredible. Well, congratulations. Congratulations on that. So as we wrap up, I'm just going to remind everyone that Linda, not only are you exhibiting, you can tell the people in the room at the event all about your wonderful products. I do need to have a serious conversation with you about your products, so we can do that before you go today. So yeah, but sharing your wisdom, that to me, 50 years, I didn't realize it was 50 years. And this was the point about this event. Yeah. For us to see that actually we can work with your husband and still be married after 50 years. You know, it does actually happen. Or, you know, we're living proof. We've got Yasmin, who I'm interviewing her. I think it's next week. She works with her husband, but she also works with her sister, and I think her sister's husband. So that's a very interesting dynamic. So families can work together because, you know, if we get our communication right, if we have the same values, if we have the same shared vision, we can pull things together to move forward. Brilliant. So another card. Now, this may be reflecting on what I already know that you've done, but maybe the angels are saying keep doing it, because you got Teresa that came through. And Teresa's saying, take time out. You've been so busy taking care of everyone else's needs, but now it's time to stop and take care of yourself. So I know that you've just had some nice pampering. Did you enjoy that?
That's a very good card. That's a very good card for me. And I'm just, well, after May, I'm hoping to have an easier summer. Summer. So in May, our new and shiny new website is going to be go live, and our new supplement will also be live on the website. So yes, more of that to come.
Oh, excellent. So yeah, so I was thinking, when I pulled it, I was thinking, well, I know that she's just had some time out, but yeah, then that's confirmation then that to keep working with that. So hand in hand with Isaiah, you know, keep working on the project and the product, because it means that you will get that time out where you can just, and I know that you love spending time with your grandchildren. I've met your beautiful grandchildren.
Oh, I do.
You know, pour that love and attention into your family, because once you've got an internet-based business, then as we know, things can take care of themselves, particularly once you've got the marketing right. Obviously, it's online sales. So, it's all brilliant. I'm so excited.
The subscription service as well.
Wow. Brilliant. So that's really good. That's really good. So obviously, you'll be able to share more about what's on offer with people at the event. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to hearing your words of wisdom on the panel. And I just want people to know that there are people that we can turn to. I don't want people thinking, oh, I'm doing this business, but I don't really have any guidance. I don't really have a support. What I've been explaining to people, that this event isn't just an event. I am building a community. Yeah. Seeds is a framework. So the word S for me stands for supportive community. So, last year we had so many case studies, people making connections, making collaborations, getting new suppliers, making new orders, getting new customers, which is great. But I know that those connections have continued, and that's really my vision for the event. So I'm really excited to have you as part of it. So Linda, is there anything that else that you wanted to share with us, or words of wisdom that you wanted to leave us with today?
I think, with a family business, I just think it's very important to talk, to get things out on the table. And if something's bothering you, just talk about it. And I suppose, I'm looking forward to attending the conference as well, because I'm looking forward to mixing with like-minded people and other family businesses, and hopefully I might pick up some tips as well.
Yeah, well,
I'm really looking forward to the day.
oh, bless you. Well, the way how it's organized, and I did it deliberately, the exhibitors are part of the event. So the exhibitors don't miss anything. Some people have said, oh, a trade show. No, it's not a trade show, because a trade show is where you're going to sit at your exhibition table literally all day and you're waiting for people to come. No, this is the program structured in such a way that you will get an opportunity, like you said, to learn, to network, and then you would get an opportunity to speak to people specifically about what you do in terms of that showcase. So yeah, brilliant. Okay, well, Linda, thank you so much for your time today. It's been wonderful to have this chat with you. And yeah, I can't wait to see you with us on the 17th of May. So just a quick shout out for any of you who are watching today. If you haven't got your ticket and you want to come, obviously the tickets are going, but I do have spaces available. Don't hold back. We're 23 days away, and I love to plan things in advance. I'm not really a lastminute.com woman, So, if this is something that you want to be part of, I've got people traveling from up and down the country. So as far away as Bath, Portsmouth, Bristol, Birmingham, London. Linda and I are both in Nottingham. I really want to see more men and women from the East Midlands getting booked on, because what I'm explaining is the ones who are traveling so far, Linda, I'm not saying that I'm never going to be in contact with them again, but for them to do a 4-hour journey, that's commitment. Yeah. And you need to be in the room to have that direct conversation with somebody who's traveled 4 hours away. You could connect with them online, but that energy that you're going to really be back and forth with each other on the day, that could be a life-changing conversation. So, I'm saying to people, don't take this invitation lightly. People saying to me, oh yeah, I'm coming, I'm traveling, I'm staying over. I feel so honored and so grateful that they're believing in what I'm doing. So for any of us who are local, so come on, no excuse for the local ones. So come on. All right, Linda. So thank you so much. And thank you for everyone who's tuned in today. We look forward to reading your comments. We will reply to you. And if you come into the event, we look forward to seeing you there. And if you're going to be taking a virtual ticket, then we'll connect with you online as well. So thanks a lot. Bye.
Thank you so much, Vanessa-Mary. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Hope to see you at the conference.
Yay.